Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my little top 10 movie lists. Today, we're going to be doing top 10 monster movies you may not have seen but should watch. These are obviously just my opinion, and this list is going to be consisting of mainly horror or horror comedy movies. So, I'm going to be avoiding big box office like action movies like King Kong or Godzilla. And the horror movies that I cover are going to be ones that I think are underrated or more or less known. So I'm not going to be featuring like Cabin in the Woods, even though that is a great monster movie. And I wanted to include that opening clip just because it's one of the best monster movie scenes in recent memory. So thank you guys for watching, and let's get started with this list. Let's just finish watching this guy get eaten by a giant leech. Fun. So coming in at number 10, we have 2004's Frankenfish. This movie was actually really surprising to me when I first watched it because, I mean, based on that cover, I thought it was just going to be some really, so bad it's good monster, like B movie with terrible CGI. And this movie actually is pretty solid. The CGI is hit or miss. Some moments it's quite good, and some moments it's pretty cheesy. But they also have some pretty good practical effects. This is about, a police officer going to investigate some murders in the swamp. And I actually really love the setting. I love that it's all these houseboats on the water. They're a little isolated. The swamp setting's just so much fun. I think it actually has some really likable characters and characters to genuinely root for as well. I think the fish monsters are super fun. They're really creepy. It has fun kills. If you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
There's another one.
Coming in at number 9, I have Antlers from 2021. I actually just recently watched this in theaters not too long ago because it got a little delayed due to COVID, unfortunately. But this movie was actually pretty fun. It's a bit slow at first, but I really appreciate a good slow burn. This movie takes place in Oregon, which is really fun because I'm originally from Oregon, so it's nice to see a movie set there, especially a fun, creepy one. This film is about a young boy whose family ends up getting in trouble with a Wendigo. If you don't know what a Wendigo is, you need to go Google it. They're quite terrifying. The best way I can explain it is like a forest spirit slash demon from Native American folklore. They are dangerous and scary, and they make me scared to be alone in the woods. This movie has really awesome cinematography, really fantastic acting, and it has some really fun jump scares and some really horrific visuals. I think this is a great addition to the monster movie genre, and if you get the chance to see it, definitely give it a shot. I think it's a great time.
Daddy?
Alright, at number 8, we have my personal favorite Bigfoot movie, Abominable, from 2006. This movie I found because my mom rented it from a Blockbuster like way back when, because she thought it wouldn't be bloody. Why she thought a Bigfoot movie wouldn't be bloody is beyond me. He's showing up to murder people, not hand out candy canes to Glen Coco. But nonetheless, we ended up watching it, and I absolutely loved it. I think Bigfoot is so scary. I low-key think Bigfoot's real, so he freaks me out. I love the design of the Bigfoot in this movie. I think it's really creepy. The acting in the movie is a little hit or miss. Some people do great, some people don't do so great. I love the concept of this movie because it mixes Bigfoot with Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window. The main character is confined to a wheelchair due to a rock climbing accident, and he's actually witnessing Bigfoot terrorizing the house next door, but no one is really believing him. So he's having to not only try and warn everybody, but then he ends up having to fight off the Bigfoot himself. I think the movie is perfect amount of cheesy and scary and fun. So go check it out and have a blast. At number 7, I have 2005's The Cave. The Cave has a pretty stacked cast, including Cole Hauser, Morris Chestnut, Lita Headey, and Daniel Day Kim.
An enormous cavern, about 300 feet down, just below the cave entrance.
It's awesome.
Which then leads to this underwater passageway.
See you in 12 days, boys.
This cave is a very serious piece of work.
We have a few realities to face, people. First, we're a mile under the surface. Second, we're not going out the way we came.
Right now, primary concern is getting out of here alive.
So, what is it?
This is definitely a predator.
There's something in there that wasn't there before.
How big was it?
It's big.
So as you can see, this movie is about a group of cave experts getting stuck inside a cave, and there ends up being some kind of, beast creature in there with them. This movie has good acting, fun action, and I think it's a pretty good time. The monsters are pretty creepy. They're kind of like a weird, cave dragon type of thing, which is kind of fun. And I think it's a good time. It's definitely worth checking out. I watched it when, I think I was in middle school or early high school, and I haven't forgotten it, so definitely go check it out. At number 6, we have the Norwegian film Troll Hunter from 2010. This movie I randomly found on Netflix with my friends, and we clicked on it because we thought it would be a lot of fun, and it was a lot of fun. It is filmed in first person, which I'm always a fan of. I think the trolls in this movie are so fun and silly and crazy and low-key really scary. There's trolls of all different shapes and sizes. This movie's a bit of a mixture between, comedy and horror and action, and I was surprised at how well done this movie was. There were some moments where I was really terrified, the cave scene especially, and there was moments where I was just having a really great time. So if you haven't seen it, please go on Netflix and check it out. I believe it is still on there. I could be wrong, but go check it out. You'll have a lot of fun. And number 5, we have one of my personal favorites, Attack the Block. This movie is so much fun. It has John Boyega in it before he had made it really big. It is about a species of alien landing in London near an apartment complex called The Block, and these kids and teenagers end up having to fight them off. There's so many fun Cockney accents in here. I absolutely love it. This movie is definitely horror comedy. It's something pretty much the whole family could watch, except for maybe little kids. I think the aliens are really cool looking. They are like these gorilla bear looking things with ultra black fur and glowing teeth. I think this movie is absolutely hilarious, so fun, a little bit spooky. It's just a great time. Everyone I've shown it to has loved it, so please go check it out. You're gonna have a blast.
What were those things?
I think I'm probably aliens.
What kind of alien would invade some council estate in South London?
One that's looking for a fight.
What is that?
Sorry about the driving. I'm getting lessons for Christmas.
Got no credit.
Got one text left. This is too much madness to explain in one text.
We have to call the police.
You'd be better off calling the Ghostbusters, love.
What's wrong with you, man?
You got tools. Jesus, he looks about 6.
I'm 9.5.
We need to get off the streets, back in the block.
Wait, this is safe. Good luck.
At number 4, we have Feast from 2005. This movie is extremely gritty and bloody and a lot of fun. It's horror comedy as well, but emphasis on the horror. This movie, it's not just bloody, it's what I would refer to as like a little bit gross. I don't want to say that in a bad way, but there's just a lot of fluids. This movie was a part of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's show Project Greenlight, so they are producers as well as Wes Craven. This movie is about a bar in the middle of the desert that starts getting attacked by these really vicious beasts. This movie doesn't have any characters with actual names, they all just have titles, and it's kind of fun to see who gets picked off because it's not necessarily who you think it would. And when I tell you that anyone can go, anyone can go. So if you like gritty, bloody, body horror movies, watch this because it is a blast, but hopefully you have a strong stomach. This is a black comedy, so you'll be laughing just as much as you'll be screaming. So go check it out. Coming in at number 3, we have The Host from 2006. This movie was directed by Bong Joon-ho, who recently did Parasite and won the Oscar. This movie is a horror comedy, and it is a lot of fun, and it's low-key scary and a little bit disturbing. It is about this community that is being terrorized by this like giant fish monster. I showed some clips of the fish monster in the opening to this video because I wanted to show a little bit more footage of it than what's shown in the trailer. But this little girl here ends up being taken hostage basically by this fish monster, and it's about her family trying to get her back. The fish monster is brutal and bloodthirsty, and it just slaughters everyone in its path. This movie is really captivating, has really wonderful characters, great cinematography. Bong Joon-ho knows how to make an excellent film. This film is so underrated in the US. In Korea, it's actually really popular. It's so popular, in fact, that there was a statue of the fish creature erected on the bank of the Han River. But in the US, it's really underrated. And I know it's probably because it's a foreign language film, which means you're going to have to read subtitles or have an English dub. And just like the director Bong Joon-ho said at his Oscar speech, if you can get over the 2 inches of subtitles at the bottom of your screen, you'll be opened up to a world of amazing stories. I probably botched that quote, but that's the gist of it. So please go see this movie. It is amazing. If you love creature features and monster movies, it's an absolute must-see. So go check it out. So number 2, we have probably my favorite monster movie ever, Tremors from 1990. And I know some of you might be thinking like, hey, this movie is not underrated, but it was a box office flop when it came out. And even though I know a lot of people have seen this movie, I feel like as it's getting older, the younger generation is not being exposed to it as much. So I feel like it is now kind of currently underrated again. But this movie is a cult classic, and this movie is so much fun. It's horror comedy, well, more thriller comedy. It's the only movie on this list I would say is totally family friendly. Anyone could watch it. I watched it as a small child, and I would play games pretending that I was running from the graboids. In case you haven't seen this movie, it is about a desert town being plagued by these underground monsters that they call graboids. This movie is so much fun, has amazingly likable characters, a really fun setting, really great monsters, and fantastic practical effects. It's not super bloody. It's really a fantastic film. I've never met someone who has seen it and didn't like it. So you must go watch it. There's a bunch of sequels with, mixed reviews, but this first movie is kind of loved by everybody across the board.
Now, this valley is just one long smorgasbord.
Now, it's up to Val and Earl to save the world.
That's one big mother.
Who died and made you Einstein?
And they know just what to do. Flip for it.
Damn.
Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Tremors.
And at number 1, we have one of my favorite horror movies of all time, The Descent. This movie is number 1 because it is probably the scariest and the most serious movie out of this list. This movie absolutely terrified me when I first watched it. I love watching this with people who've never seen it because I love seeing their reactions. This movie is a bit more popular than some of the others, but I still feel like it is incredibly underrated. I find people all the time who have not watched it, and again, I love watching it with new people because it is so much fun. This movie is about a group of 6 women that go spelunking in a deep cave system, and as you can see right now, they end up getting stuck down there, and then they find out they are not the only things down there. I'm going to let the trailer play for a second so you can see what I'm talking about.
Sarah thinks she saw someone back there.
what?
I don't think I saw someone. I saw someone. No, you heard something and you saw what you wanted to see. It's the dark. It plays tricks on people. Ah! Please! Is there anybody there?
Are you freaking kidding me? It's so scary. As you can see, there are some crazy monster humanoid things down in this cave. The acting in this movie is absolutely fantastic. The effects in this movie are fantastic. The setting, the story, the complicated relationships between the women. It's all fantastic. And this movie is not about, a bunch of victims. This movie is filled with badass women kicking ass and taking names. So I absolutely love it. If you have not seen it, you must go watch it. Alright, and that concludes this list of 10 monster movies you may not have seen but should definitely watch. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And thank you to the people who've been commenting and asking me to make more lists. I'm sorry it took so long, but I appreciate you watching and I appreciate everybody's comments. If you've seen any of these movies, let me know what you think. Thank you guys and have a great rest of your night. Bye.